Hey, are you hungry? I don't have much, but you can share mine.
You're not afraid of
The
us?
park on Meridian Boulevard was never quiet anymore. Ever since the Galactic Integration Act had passed 3 years ago, Earth's cities had transformed into something unrecognizable, beautiful in some ways, terrifying in others. Holographic transit signs blinked in 17 languages. Street vendors sold grilled moon kelp beside hot dog carts. And on every corner, in every alley, beneath every overpass, there were the ones nobody wanted to talk about. The displaced. The refugees of a dozen collapsed star systems who had nowhere else to go. Marcus Hale noticed them every day on his lunch break. He just never knew what to do about it. He was 26, barely scraping by on a courier salary, living in a studio apartment with one window and a radiator that clanked all night. His lunch, a brown paper bag containing a chicken sandwich, a small bag of chips, and an apple, cost him about $4. Some days that was all he allowed himself. He sat down on his usual bench near the old oak tree, the one with bark so thick it looked armored. The autumn light filtered gold through the leaves. For a moment it almost felt normal. That's when he saw them. 3 small figures huddled at the far end of the bench. At first, he thought they were children in Halloween costumes. Early but not impossible. Then one of them turned, and he saw the pointed ears swept back like blades, the pale blue-gray skin, the wide, luminous eyes the color of a winter moon. Their hair fell in soft waves of lavender and silver, tangled from sleeping outdoors. Their clothes were thin, layered scraps of fabric that didn't look warm enough for October. They each held something, small golden rings of what looked like fried dough, and they were eating slowly, carefully, like they were rationing every bite. Marcus looked around. Dozens of people walked past. A businessman in an exosuit. A woman pushing a stroller. 2 teenagers recording something on their holopads. Not one of them looked at the children. Not one. He opened his paper bag. Looked at his sandwich. Looked back at them. The middle child, the one who had turned, was still watching him. Her expression was impossible to read. Not fear exactly. More like a kind of tired wariness. The look of someone who had learned that attention from strangers rarely meant anything good. Marcus cleared his throat. "Hey," he said softly. All 3 of them went rigid. "I'm not going to bother you," he said quickly, holding up one hand. Do you want some of this? I've got more than I need." He pulled out the sandwich and held it toward them, still wrapped in its paper sleeve. For a long moment nobody moved. Then the middle girl whispered something to the one on her left. The one on her left whispered back. The one on her right, the smallest, with hair almost entirely blue, leaned forward and sniffed the air with a curiosity that was entirely childlike and entirely alien at the same time. "You're not afraid of us?" the middle one finally asked. Her voice was soft, accented with something musical, like words that wanted to be sung. "Should I be?" Marcus asked. She thought about it seriously. Most humans are. Most humans are afraid of a lot of things they don't understand, he said. Doesn't make them right. He set the sandwich on the bench between them and pulled out the chips. "My name's Marcus." "Sarah," said the middle one. Then she pointed to the girl on her left. "Lynn." And to the smallest. "Pip. Nice to meet you all." He nodded at the golden rings they'd been eating. "What are those?" "Sun bread," Sarah said. "From home. We had 3 left." He paused. "We had a lot before." Marcus didn't ask what before meant. He figured he already knew. He broke the sandwich into 4 roughly equal pieces and placed them on the paper bag between them like a makeshift table. Pip reached out first, hesitantly, and took the smallest piece. Then Lynn. Then Sarah, who looked at Marcus the entire time, like she was waiting for something to go wrong. Nothing went wrong. They ate in silence for a while. The gold light shifted through the oak tree. A pair of pigeons waddled past. Somewhere across the park, a child was laughing. "Where do you sleep?" Marcus asked eventually. "The transit shelter on 5th, Sarah said. "When there's room. Sometimes the bridge near the river." "Your parents?" The three girls exchanged a look that carried the weight of a whole story compressed into a single glance. "Our mother is in the processing center," Sarah said. "They say she needs more documentation. She has been there 11 weeks. Marcus set down his apple. 11 weeks. They keep asking for papers she doesn't have. Because the papers were on our ship. And the ship is gone." Sarah's voice was very calm and very steady, the way voices get when someone has cried so much they've run out of tears. "So we wait." He looked at the three of them, Sarah with her careful eyes, Lynn who hadn't spoken but watched everything, Pip who had finished her piece of sandwich and was now examining a fallen leaf with total absorption. Behind them, in the park's walking path, two more figures stood at a distance. Taller. Lillian. One in battered armor, one in a long pale robe. Adults watching from a careful remove. Not threatening, just present. Guardians of some kind, Marcus guessed. Community members keeping an eye on the children even if they couldn't do more. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out his phone. Pulled up the contact for a woman named Daria Chen. A paralegal he'd done a delivery for once who had handed him her card and said, "Call me if you ever need anything, I mean it." He'd never called. "I know someone," he said. "She helps people with documentation. I don't know if she can help your mom, but..." He held the phone out to Sarah. "Can I try?" Sarah stared at the phone for a long moment. "Why?" she asked. Not suspicious. Genuinely confused. "You don't know us." Marcus thought about it. Really thought about it. 3 years ago, he said, my family lost everything in a flood. We were living in a shelter for 4 months. People walked past us too. He looked at his paper bag, now empty. "I remember what it felt like when someone stopped." Sarah reached out and took the phone. He made the call right there on the bench. Daria answered on the 3rd ring, and when Marcus explained, she didn't hesitate. She asked for names, dates, the processing center location. She said she'd make contact by morning. When he hung up, Pip had climbed up and was sitting beside him, still holding her leaf, leaning ever so slightly against his arm. She didn't say anything. She didn't need to. Marcus sat very still, afraid to move and break the moment. The gold light poured through the oak tree. Somewhere across the park, the child was still laughing. And for the first time in a long time, Marcus Hale felt like maybe the world, this strange, enormous, terrifying, beautiful new world, was something a person could actually be part of, if they were willing to stop.